once again. Okay, hold on a second, please. Okay. Let me make sure that's not responding. Okay, I'll be right with you. But when you have, once again, gotta love it. When you have people in the State Department doing the shit they've done, I think they need to go to a military tribunal, which I would totally agree upon, in case that did not go through. If you take them to a regular court system, they could have a corrupt judge, they could have a corrupt jury. I think this puts the standard higher, especially when it comes to treason. And I don't use that very lightly, if you didn't hear that before, because you not only hurt people, you hurt their families, you put the entire country through hell, you try to sell out your country. And I don't say that very lightly either. There's a lot of evidence that will be coming to light very soon. So, on that note, we have news on General Flynn. Now, this man was dragged through the mud. His good name hurt. His family, once again, they've hurt people. And this is an innocent man. He has served our country very honorably. And with the new evidence that's come around, this is when the dam breaks. I have made this analogy before, that we had that little crack. We had the DOJ say this case needs to be thrown out. It got a little wider when it went to the appeals court. Got a little wider when you have more information coming out. Now, holy shit, I'm telling you, a lot more is coming out. It's being more apparent. It's becoming more clear of tremendous wrongdoing. And it's stuff that if you research this, you would know that this has all been happening. Let me see. Make sure I get this correctly. I think this is it. Yep.
Joining us now by phone, Sidney Powell. She is General Michael Flynn's attorney, former federal prosecutor, filing a motion today to dismiss. Sid, it's great to have you with us on the broadcast. Tell us the basis of the motion to dismiss now, and I'm afraid we all have a sense, at least, of why it's necessary, and also, amazingly, that it is necessary at all, given what has become a phenomenon in the court system in Washington, D.C.
Yes, well, the government originally moved to dismiss the case on May 7th with a 100-page filing that included 80 pages of exculpatory evidence not previously produced to the defense, and that shows General Flynn is innocent. There was no crime ever by him, and the government made up the basis to, quote, investigate him and everything else, and falsified the 302 report of their interview of him. So it's been a disaster from the get-go. It never should have been brought as a prosecution, much less an investigation. And now we have an additional 40 pages of documents just produced to us late last night by the government, finally pried out of the FBI, extricated like trying to pull a wisdom tooth, apparently. And it shows even more evidence that the agents knew they were making it up, to the point that they sought professional liability insurance for themselves, realizing they would be sued if anybody ever found this. They made a comment about, boy, if this is ever FOIA'd, meaning produced under the Freedom of Information Act, there are going to be an awful lot of questions to answer. I mean, it's one comment after the other that shows they knew they were playing games with General Flynn's life.
Right.
And they did that and have done that for 4 years.
Well, I guess the expression correctly here again, when we talk about the politically corrupt FBI and the Justice Department and what they have done to General Flynn, his family, is damn their hides. The fact that one agent texted effectively an admission that he had a conscience, he just had overcome it, is certainly insufficient. What is to be done now? You can't get justice in that court system in D.C. The appellate court is rigged. They're political skunks. They've got the whole system rigged. They would just as soon crush General Flynn's life and that of his family as sit upon their little perches with black robes. They are an outrage. They are a disgrace to the nation. What in the world are we to do?
Well, Judge Sullivan's going to have to dismiss this case with prejudice. If he doesn't, the Supreme Court will, because it's an absolute appalling travesty of justice. And the court has only exacerbated it by its baseless and unprecedented rulings.
Unprecedented rulings, and knowing full well that all they were doing was continue to persecute General Flynn and his family, and to do so that he was an innocent man from the very beginning. And do you know what else? Sydney, I'd like to get your opinion on this. I really think the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice, should be ashamed of himself for letting this go on as it has. I think it's outrageous what he has permitted, and there's no way to hold him accountable. But I have to say, I think so little of this man now, it's impossible to express. Your thoughts?
Well, there is a judicial ethics commission and a way to seek and file grievances against federal judges. In fact, any member of the public can do it. And there may be plenty of reason to do that coming up, if not already.
Yeah, does not the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court have the capacity, the power, and the authority, and indeed the responsibility to reach into a court when it is serving everything but justice?
Well, generally, as Justice Ginsburg wrote in a unanimous decision for the Supreme Court just a week or so before Judge Sullivan started this abusive process, judges are not supposed to sally forth looking for wrongs to right. They wait for the litigants to bring the issues to them.
Yeah.
So if Judge Sullivan doesn't grant this motion to dismiss with prejudice, as must be done according to all existing legal precedent, we will take it immediately to the Supreme Court.
Amen.
Sidney Powell, it's great to have you with us. We thank you so much, and we wish you, of course, the best of luck and all the best to General Flynn, his family, and again, to those sitting on the court in D.C. You're an embarrassment to this nation and almost every value we hold dear.
That's very true. That is extremely true. This is why we can't afford to have all these high-ups go through our court system, especially in D.C., because of corrupt judges like Judge Sullivan. This case should have been over. Plain and simple. Oh no, he's got to drag it out for some personal reason. I don't know why. Nobody really does, except him and God. He is all judges who do this for an alternative gain of some sort should never be on the bench. They're there to weigh the evidence and make a judgment. Not be part of a lawyer, not to torture people. This is hell. This would be hell for anybody. They should not be going through this. Excuse me. Welcome back, everybody who has rejoined. I lost total connection. Just trying to move forward, and we'll get there. Next is, you have John Sullivan. Flynn case bombshell. FBI analysis brought intelligence fears they would be sued for misconduct. No, they ought to be prison. That's not their job either. They're not supposed to be acting this way. Let's see.
FBI agent against Mike Flynn, testifying that they never, during 3 years of the Russia case, they never had collusion. They never had evidence of any criminal wrongdoing with Special Counsel Robert Mueller or the original FBI probe, yet agents kept the case going. Robert Mueller's team kept the case going because they were interested in, according to this FBI agent, get Trump. It was a political investigation, he said, not one based on evidence of wrongdoing. At the same time that agent's testimony came out, we found out that text messages from the analysts, the people going through the intelligence, working on the Russia case, believed that the FBI was engaged in such misconduct, particularly targeting Michael Flynn, the former National Security Advisor, that they were seeking to buy liability insurance because they were certain they were going to be sued. That was what was going on in the FBI that we did not know for the last 4 years.
And with that said, FBI officials on the Mueller team said Flynn prosecution had get Trump attitude. Collusion probe was not there. So they, once again, screwed around because they didn't like the president. They decided to do what they did. Hell is coming for them. This administration will take, I'm sure, proper actions. Hey, Nathan, what's up? To exonerate the general. So when this is, I hope, it's really, look how evil Peter Strzok is. He had that attitude at his hearing. Like, I'm better than you. Screw him. He needs to go to prison especially. They're still looking for the 302s, the original 302s. Eventually, I believe they will find them. What the problem is with Director Wray is a very good question. And I'll be one to say it once again. I've been very disappointed in Wray. I thought he was going to clean up the FBI, and apparently he didn't. He's just another lackey, just like the rest of them. I'm not saying all, just deep state. That's all it is, man.
Denying the Justice Department and Michael Flynn's efforts to end his criminal case in a move that adds another twist in his divisive case. Correspondent David Spunt joins us live from the Justice Department with the latest. Good evening, David.
Hey, Brett, good evening to you. Well, Michael Flynn, the former National Security Advisor, just a few months ago could almost taste his freedom, but this is no question a setback now that the appeals court has basically said, we're not going to hear this. We're going to send this back down to the original trial judge. That trial judge's name, Emmett Sullivan. Now, this is a big development in this case as Michael Flynn waits to hear exactly where things will go for him. Now, Flynn's fate, it heads back to that original trial judge who refused to immediately dismiss it in the first place. He pleaded guilty twice to lying to the FBI about his contacts with Russia. He withdrew the most recent plea at the beginning of the year. Back in May, Justice Department lawyers decided Flynn's false statements were not enough to continue the prosecution. When Attorney General Bill Barr took the extraordinary step to announce he wanted to drop the case, things heated up. At issue, Brett, who ultimately decides. Now, the man presiding over the case, as I mentioned it, Judge Sullivan, said essentially he didn't want to drop this case immediately. He wanted more time to consider the case over the summer. Flynn's team then took took arguments to the Federal Court of Appeals. A 3-judge panel agreed with Flynn and the Justice Department, ordering Judge Sullivan to immediately dismiss this case. Judge Sullivan then hired a lawyer who took the case to the full circuit court. Today, in an 8-2 decision, one judge did not participate. Judge Thomas Griffith wrote in a concurring opinion, "This proceeding is not about the merits of the prosecution of General Flynn or the government's decision to abandon that prosecution. Rather, this proceeding involves questions about the structure of the judiciary and its relationship to the executive branch." Essentially, Brett, what the judges are saying today, send this back down to Judge Sullivan. It's his case to hear. It's his decision to make right now. Michael Flynn and his legal team wait. Brett.
But as Sidney Powell just said, if they do not dismiss this case, it will go to the Supreme Court. And probably by then, we will have another conservative justice on the bench. Now that Ginsburg has passed away, and in all fairness, I will be considered she was a human being. We just did not care for her decisions or values. So yes, you are right, Ocean Nathan. Ray is allowing Antifa. He acknowledges Antifa, but that's about it. But sooner or later, and it's going to happen, I truly believe, because the president said so, he will sign an executive order to make Antifa a terrorist group. And they deserve to be such. And there has been a whirlwind of info today. And it has just been totally insane. I mean, this is the kind of stuff. She's the devil. Well, let's just say I like to at least try to be respectful. She's possessed. How's that? Is that better? There's been a lot worse people. Strut. That's the devil. These records show. Let's see if I can get this a little bit larger. There we go. Show that originally the case was to be shut. There was nothing there to continue the investigation of General Flynn. Nothing. But 20 minutes later, Strut says, well, probably better reopen it. There's got to be a there. Which they knew there was no there. This was just another attempt to have a coup against this president, which is sickening in itself. And there's a lot for this case. Here is Glenn Beck with his take on things with General Flynn. No, it's actually, General Flynn would be kind of considered, but it's more the Trump Russia.
Whether or not your whole 4-year period here with the Democrats have been a lie. Because you were told from the very beginning that Donald Trump was in league with Russian spies. Well, we now know, because of FOIA requests, and the news, they're not covering any of this. We now know that the Steele dossier, that file that said, Donald Trump is working with the Russians, we now know that it was not only Steele who was discredited by the FBI, and you were not supposed to use anything that came from him because they found it unreliable, but for some reason this time they accepted him. We thought originally, when we laid out the case on impeachment, we said this guy was getting it from his drinking buddies, it appears. Well, now because some things are loosening up and we're getting actual documents out, no, it wasn't from his drinking buddies. His source was an actual Russian spy. Somebody the FBI knew was trying to recruit people in the White House. Not Trump's White House, anybody's White House. He had already been nailed as a Russian spy because he was saying, look, you want to make some extra money. You work in the White House. Maybe we can work a deal. We knew that. So we knew he was an active Russian spy. He's the source of the Steele dossier. Comey and everybody else knew it. And what was the Russian spy saying? That Donald Trump was working with Russian spies. Now, who do you believe? That's not even the big news today. That's 2 days old. Had you even heard that? That's 2 days old. Now we have this one. I'm going to read this verbatim. This will tell you we are done as a nation if we don't pursue this and clean this up.
That's right.
Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI agents tasked by former director James Comey to take down Donald Trump during and after the 2016 election were so concerned about the agency's potentially illegal behavior that they purchased liability insurance to protect themselves 2 weeks before Donald Trump was inaugurated. You have that? New communications and internal FBI notes were disclosed in federal court filings today. The leaked details? Quote, this is from a text from one agent to another. We all went and purchased professional liability insurance. One agent text January 10th, 2017. Same day, CNN leaked the details of the Steele dossier, which was from Russian spy, we now know. The president-elect had been briefed by Comey about all the bogus Christopher Steele dossiers on that day. That briefing of Trump was used as a pretext to legitimize the debunked dossier, which was funded by the National Committee, Democratic National Committee, the Clinton campaign, and compiled by a former intelligence officer that the FBI had on a do not use as a source list. And his source was a Russian spy. The agent responded, holy crap, you bought insurance? All the analysts too? Next agent, yep, all the folks at the agency as well. Can I ask you who the most likely litigators would be? As far as who's potentially going to sue y'all? Ha ha, who knows? I think the concern is, when we got it, that there was a big leak at DOJ, and the New York Times, among others, is going to do a piece. The latest documents, a production including handwritten notes and texts from Peter Strzok, Andrew McCabe, Lisa Page, and the FBI analysts who worked on the FBI's investigation of Flynn. Agents also said that they were worried about how a new attorney general might view the actions taken against Trump during the investigation. Shortly after then, Senator Jeff Sessions was confirmed to be Trump's new attorney general. Congressional Democrats, media, and Obama holdovers within the DOJ immediately moved to force Sessions to recuse himself from overseeing the department's investigations on Trump. Quoting, the new AG might have some real questions. Then yada, 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 we all get screwed, one agent wrote to another. The FBI agents also discussed how the investigation's leadership was consumed with conspiracy theories rather than evidence. I'm telling whoever, if this thing ever gets FOIA'd, there's going to be some tough questions asked, and a great deal of those are going to be related to Brian having scope way outside the boundaries of logic. Redacted, we don't know who it was, is one of the worst offenders of the rabbit holes in conspiracy theories. This guy traveled with that guy who put down a third guy on his visa as a sponsor, though the third guy lives near a Navy base. Therefore, several texts show that the order to close the criminal investigation against Flynn came now as early as November 8th, the same day as the presidential election. But it was opened by Joe Biden and Barack Obama in early January. It was reopened. One text says, we have some loose ends to tie up, and we all need to discuss what to do with each case after we shut down Razor. Next agent, so glad they're closing down Razor. That was the investigation on Flynn. New disclosures made by the DOJ also show that the FBI used so-called national security letters to spy on Flynn's finances. Unlike traditional subpoenas, which require judicial review and approval before authorities can seize an innocent person's property and information, NSLs are never independently reviewed by courts. One of the agents noted in a text message that the NSLs were just being used as a pretext by the leadership of the FBI to buy time and find dirt on Flynn after the investigation of him yielded no information. Quoting the text back to one agent to another. The decision to NSL finances for Razor bought him time, one agent said. What do we expect to get from a NSL? The other agent texted back. We put out traces, tripwires to community. Nothing. Bingo. So what's an NSL going to do? No content. Ha ha, this is a nightmare. If we're working to close down the case, the other one said, I'm not sure what NSL results would do to help. Exactly, said the agent as he wrote back. That makes no sense. Quote, doing all this election research, I think some of these guys want a Clinton presidency. In a series of texts sent the same day as the infamous January 5th Oval Office meeting between Biden, Obama, Comey, Sally Yates, and Susan Rice, one agent admits Trump was right when he tweeted that the FBI was delaying his briefings as incoming president so they could cook up evidence against him, as the Federalist first reported in this operation run out of FBI for Obama. The agent wrote, so Razor is going to stay open? He wrote on January 5th. Remember, they closed it November 8th. They're reopening it. So they're going to stay open? Yep. Crimes report being drafted. First agent writes back, F. What's the word on how Obama's briefing went? One agent referred to the January 5th meeting. Don't know, but people here are scrambling for any information to support certain things, and it's a madhouse. Jesus, the agent wrote back. Trump was right. Still not put together. Why do we do this to ourselves? What's wrong with these people? A week later, FBI agents also wrote they suspected that an illegal leak of top secret information about Flynn's phone call with the Russian ambassador to the U.S. Ambassador from Moscow to the news media came directly from the White House. FYI, somebody leaked the Flynn calls to the Wall Street Journal. Man, I am sorry to hear that. I'll resume my duties as chief morale officer and rectify that. Yeah, published this morning in the Washington Post. It included top secret information. It's got to be somebody on the staff, somebody on the presidential daily briefing staff or White House seniors. Documents unearthed during the review showed that the FBI was tasked by the Obama White House in early 2017 with retargeting Flynn. By the way, I've got to take a 1-minute break, but there's still more. And this is only the first shoe. This was not brought out in a big fanfare. This is not what they have. This is what they're leaking to tell everyone. We have the text messages. We know who the agents were. Do you think they're going to take the rap for this one? Because they're all pointing their fingers upward. How high does this one go? So I think so far this is pretty incriminating. Mm-hmm. So the review uncovered evidence that FBI's interview of Flynn, which later led to charges that he lied to investigators, had no legal basis, and the FBI agents who interviewed Flynn did not believe that he had lied. Contrary to the claims by Mueller's office that Flynn had lied about discussing financial sanctions against Russia during post-election phone calls with Russian ambassador, declassified transcripts of those conversations confirmed that Flynn spoke to the ambassador, but only about expulsions of Russian diplomats, and that the two men never discussed financial sanctions against Russia that was levied by the Obama administration. So in other words, they charged him with saying he's doing fine. He's talking about financial things. He's making a deal. Everything they said Flynn said, now the actual transcript is out. It shows he didn't say that. Previously revealed handwritten notes from the FBI's top counterintelligence official admitted the primary goal of the FBI's anti-Flynn operation was, quote, to get him to lie so we can prosecute him or get him fired. Despite the overwhelming evidence that Flynn did not lie to agents, the FBI had no legal basis to interview him. That the FBI later hid exculpatory documents from Flynn's defense team. Think of this. They set him up, and then they hid documents that showed that he was innocent. Flynn did not discuss financial sanctions during the phone calls, and the FBI agents who interviewed didn't believe that he lied, but the federal court, the federal judge, refused to dismiss the case against Flynn. Instead, Sullivan personally appointed a left-wing shadow prosecutor whose partners represent former DOJ official Yates to smear Flynn and attempt to continue the baseless criminal case against him. At one point last April, Sullivan even tried to order the DOJ to stop producing and publicly filing exculpatory evidence for Flynn or evidence of FBI misbehavior during its investigation of Flynn. Is this the kind of country you want? Is this the kind of, if they do it to these people, if they will just be this brazen, and the FBI agents all know it, and they're all going, geez, what are we doing, man? If the FBI agents are afraid of the superiors in the deep state, how afraid should you be? You think they're not going to do this? You don't think that they can keep evidence that clears your name? Damn right. I've had it done to me by the U.S. government. I've had it done by the Obama White House. They will do it to you. This must be stopped. We have to make a decision. Are we a nation of laws? Or are we just a nation of men? And if you're on the right side, you get away with it. Enough is enough. America decides in Red November.
Absolutely. Now, this is not what our country is made of. We are not supposed to have a government that does this to our citizens. You hear about this stuff in Russia, probably Venezuela, Cuba, never here. This makes Watergate look like a kiddie pool. And if you listen to the president, especially tonight, he's talked about a lot more. He's talked a little bit here, a little bit more, a little bit more. Now it's busted wide open. More evidence is being revealed, and I hope a lot of people are waking up to what the Obama administration was and what the hell Joe Biden is. He has also betrayed this country. He has sold his soul to China. He has sold his soul to the devil when he has committed treason. I don't care what his state of mind is now. That doesn't excuse your past deeds. When you had your faculties together, there is absolutely no excuse. James Clapper was the first one to kind of by accident leak it out. Remember, I've showed you. There's a clip. He was on a news program being interviewed. And I think it was CNN, and he literally said, we were taking orders from the administration. Obama. Is that the country you want to live in, where you fear your government? all these lefties out there worry about Donald Trump. You know, they say nasty things which aren't true, but want the other side where they have committed these crimes. And they are crimes. Legal definition. That's just a fact. Anybody who knows reasonably it is. I have full faith that Barr and Durham will do the right thing. They will bring these men to justice and will be tried. Hopefully, let's pray, it will be in a military tribunal. And their ass goes to Gitmo. Or whatever fate they may come to. That's up to the judge. Now, reports from X22 is Barr has got more reports from the Clinton Foundation. This isn't just Obama. It's not just Strut. It's the Clintons as well. Anybody who's awake, who's red-pilled, realizes what's out there. There's some nasty people. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. I've said it before and I'll say it again. They care about themselves. And these useful idiots in the street rioting, that's what they are. Useful idiots. This is a narrative they're trying to distract from their misdeeds. They're willing to sacrifice these people, men, women, to riot, loot, whatever. There's been, probably cases of killing. That's how useful, stupid idiots they are. Does the Clinton, does the Soroses, do the Obamas, do the Bushes really give a shit? No, they don't. It's to distract away from them. They used the Russia hoax to distract their misdeeds. They sold this country out to China and God knows who else. There probably was no legitimate reason to go into Libya and help the rebels. Gaddafi was complying with the resolutions that were set upon him. I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm not an advocate for him. I'm just saying that's what it was. And God only knows how many more countries. Ukraine. Countries probably in South Africa. Against ISIS down there. Who knows? There's reports of misdeeds in Haiti during the earthquake. So, I was really thinking about this, and I want to bring this up, which I didn't really plan on it. Let's see if I can get it up. Well, I will, because it's really interesting that was brought to my attention when it comes to misdeeds. Now, we've heard the story. Yeah, it's not going to come up, is it? It's going to be difficult. Well, let's just say I will try to get it up in a little bit. But first, let's try it this way. Nope. Let's see. I'm trying to find it. Well, let's do it this way. There was our president had two roundtables, which was very interesting. And reaching out to the Black and Latino communities. And here is the Latino event. Let me get that ready for you. There we go. It was kind of a last minute selection for the round table. There we go. And I will try to get that event up that I was talking about soon. Of course. Let me try to refresh and get that to you.
I can feel it coming.
Yeah, I can't use that because it's considered a strike, whatever, from if YouTube is working for a change. So I gotta wait until the president gets aboard. Here he is. So we don't get any strikes or anything. I love that song. I hope that you like that song from Lee Greenwood. Brings a lot of like warm feelings and greatness to your heart. It's a great American song. Some people are a little tired of it, but I'm one who does not. I think it is a beautiful song. There you go. I will work on the other one.
Sit down, please. We have some real champions here. And one I heard in particular, I don't know, I saw a very fast knockout not so long ago. Where is Jorge? Where is Jorge? I don't want to fight with him. Where is he? Where is he? Stand up, Jorge. Stand up. There he is. That's how fast this knockout. I watched this. He was fighting this young superstar. He's going to be great, right? They would tell me how great he is. Man, I mean, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but he was supposed to be the future of the UFC, but he had to go through this guy right here. Didn't work out too well, did it, Jorge? What a champion you are. Thank you. And that was the fastest. What was it, like about a second? It's 2 seconds. You ran across the ring, and the guy was gone, and that was the end of it. Did they have to pay you for that evening or not? Because, 1 second is not. That's a good return. Great to have you. Big fan. Thank you, man. Thanks. Great. So I'm thrilled to be back at Doral. I never knew I was going to even see it again. This is nice. I bought it before I became president, and I had no intention of being president. I was enjoying my life. I had a great life, like Jorge has. Just keep winning, though, Jorge. It's important, right? But I will say, and then I said, let's do this. And I said, I have all these great places. I don't know if I'll ever see him again, but we have these beautiful ballrooms, and it works out well. It can even hold all of that media back there. It's a lot of people this early in the morning. But it's about Hispanics and the relationship that we have. We have incredible relationships. And you've seen the polls. The polls are having me up over a Democrat, which is, I think, unheard of. And it should really, I don't think it's going to be unheard of anymore. Thank you. And we recently were in Arizona. We got a reception, like it was incredible. But literally, I mean, we are doing better than the opposition. Now, the opposition has not been good to Hispanics at all. He's been very bad to Hispanics. And we'll go into that, and we'll do some questions later. We'll have a little fun. But I'm very happy to be back at Doral. It's great. It's a good location, right?
Yes,
very
sir.
good
Excellent.
location. And at least I see my property, even if for just a short period of time. But I really appreciate you all being here, and you're all champions. They're all champions, Jorge. It's a great group. In Arizona, I was with a man, you know him, owner of the Los Angeles Angels, and he's done such a fantastic job. He's been so nice, and I didn't recognize him. And then I said, "Haven't I seen you in sports?" "Oh, the Angels." And he stood up. He made just a very inspiring speech, and he's done such a great job and I guess from Mexico, right? He's from Mexico. What a job he's done with the team. He signed Albert Pujols. He's got Trout, I guess, who's considered. I don't get to watch too much baseball anymore, unfortunately, but he's considered the best player in baseball. And so it's really the success of the Hispanics. They call them Latinos sometimes, Hispanics sometimes, and sometimes you can call them both. They don't really care, I figure. After about 5 years, I figured out that they don't really care. Just call us one of those two, and we're okay. But the success has been incredible. Great business people. But I'm thrilled to be back at Doral with so many patriotic Americans who are part of our extraordinary national movement, and that's Latinos for Trump. And we're joined by Republican Party Chair Joe Gruters. Where's Joe? Joe. Thank you, Joe. Great job. How are we doing? Well, they had a poll that I never did well in. It's the ABC Washington Post poll. They had me down 4 years ago, 12 points with like a week and a half to go. And we complained. And then by the election, they had me almost even. And I said, that was quick. We complained very loudly, right? But I've never done well in that poll. And they have us up 4 in Florida. But it seems to be going well from what I hear. That's great. Yeah, it should be going well. If you don't do a good job, you will be fired so fast you're hitting it. I think we're going to win it big. Yeah, I know. It just feels it really good. But Hispanic Americans have been incredible. We have one right here that he gave a very inspiring speech. Where's Max? Max Alvarez. He gave a very inspiring speech. He gave a couple of them, actually. I've been to a couple of them, and he really took the house down at the Republican National Convention, but really at the round table a few weeks ago. You were at the round table, right? We were with all those great people. But I want to thank you. He's a tremendous success. In fact, they used to say he's the richest Hispanic in Florida. I don't know if that's true or not. But he started off with $2, and I know he's rich as hell, so that's okay. But Max Alvarez, thank you very much, Max. We appreciate it. Hispanic Americans enrich our nation beyond measure. Look at them. What a job.
That is the gentleman who gave the heartwarming speech at the first round table. Then he gave the same beautiful, came from the heart speech at the RNC convention.
Hispanic Americans enrich our nation beyond measure. They champion our shared values and embody the American dream. That's what it is. I mean, this guy was a fighter on the street. He used to beat up people. You know, your route is much different. Most of these people, I know your story. Actually, for what you do, it's sort of cool. You know, for other people, it wouldn't be so good. But he used to beat up people. And somebody said, hey, come on to the gym. Let's see if you're so good. And then he goes into the gym, and guys that were fighting for a long time, he beat the hell out of them. They said, I think he's going to be a good fighter. And they were right. But these are all different stories, right? All different stories. Whatever it takes, Jorge, right? Whatever it takes. But Joe Biden has spent 47 years selling out to the, different interests in Washington. It's really sad. He sold out the Hispanic American community, sending your jobs to China, making your communities less safe, attacking your religious values, and trapping countless children in failing government schools. He doesn't like charter schools. He doesn't like choice. And choice is a very important thing for education, but he can't do that. It's just against the radical left. The radical left can't have it. And you know about the radical left almost more than any people. You know about the radical left. You've gotten some pretty, right? You've gotten big examples, and you're not going to be there. And I think that's one of the reasons we're doing so well with Hispanics. Joe Biden betrayed Hispanic Americans, and I'm fighting for you, and we're fighting like never before. We can't let this anything happen. I think this will go down, and I think right now people are saying it's the most important election in the history of our country because they are stone cold crazy what they'll do to our country. You see it on the streets. You see it with the riots all the time. And we don't have that in Republican states and cities. You don't have that. This is endemic to the Democrats, and no bail, no this, no that, weakness all over the place, and they take advantage, and that's the way it is, and it's a very sad thing. We went into Minneapolis, we saved it, we went in, they knew we were coming into Seattle, we were going in the next day, and they just raised up their hand and they left. But this is after weeks and weeks. We have to be asked by the governors, which in all cases are Democrats, in all cases. Top 10 cities, Democrat for danger. Look at what's going on in Chicago. You look at what's happened in New York now in a short period of time. I love New York, and you look at what they've done, the Democrats, what they've done to destroy it. They have some categories of crime up 160%. One was up 300%. This all happened in a short period of time. We want to draft Rudy Giuliani. Let's draft Rudy. Yeah. But he betrayed the Hispanic Americans prior to the China virus, the plague that came in from China. We achieved the lowest Hispanic American unemployment rate in the history of our country. It was 6 months ago. We're building it up again. You know, make America great again. We say now, make America great again. Make America great again, because we did it. Now I have to do it again. I thought that was done. I thought this was going to be easy. This was going to be a very easy election. I still think it is. I think there's a spirit out there that I've never seen, even far beyond what it was 4 years ago. It's incredible. You know, I'm sure you say it.
Very much so. Absolutely.
More than 1.5 million Hispanic Americans were lifted out of poverty during this short period of time. Think of that, 1.5 million lifted out of poverty. That's a record. Hispanic American home ownership and household income reached all-time highs, records, all records. Everything was a record. And if you look at the numbers, if you look at what's happening, it's happening again. We're in a V. It's going to be very big. Third quarter numbers will be announced before the election, and I think they're going to be they're going to be great. They're going to be great. I think that GDP is going to be, I mean, estimates are I heard one from 23% to 35%.
Oh, excuse me.
And any one of them would be an all-time record worldwide. So, but that's what the predictions are. Let's see what it is, but it'll come out 2 days, 3 days before the election, which I'm very happy about. We built the greatest economy in history, and now we're doing it again. In the past 4 months, we added 3.3 million Hispanic American jobs. That's a record also. A lot of records. Joe Biden would terminate our recovery with a crippling nationwide shutdown and a $4 trillion tax hike. He's looking to raise your taxes very substantially, Max. I'm not sure if you like that. You'll have to close a few of the gas stations, maybe. You know, you'll only have 200 instead of 204. But you don't want to hear about tax hikes, right? Because it'll crush your whole everything that we've built. You can't do it. And they're looking for the biggest tax hike in the history of our country. He'll lay waste to Florida's economy, just like he ruined Puerto Rico's economy in the Senate in 1996. Biden voted for a tax bill that obliterated Puerto Rico's thriving pharmaceutical industry and sent thousands. That was Joe Biden that did that. I didn't do it. Joe Biden did that. Sleepy Joe, he's a sleepy guy. And sent thousands.
I think Joe actually seen his shadow. That means he'll be hidden in the basement for at least 6 more months.
Thousands of jobs to China. A lot of those jobs went to China. That's what happened. They took it out of, they ended the tax bill. You're nodding and you understand exactly. They just cut it. And that was Biden and his friends. I will reverse Biden's catastrophic decision and we'll bring those jobs back to Puerto Rico. It's going to be happening. I mean, honestly, Puerto Rico, because you've seen what happens. It's it's a little bit like habit. They vote for Democrats, but it's a mistake, and it's changed with most Hispanics. You know, we had I just got the Bay of Pigs Award, and I've gotten it twice now, and I got the total endorsement of the Cuban population. As you know, they were up 2 days ago in the White House, and they gave us the endorsement. So. We're doing great with that. But We also announced for Puerto Rico $13 billion in historic disaster relief funds. $13 billion.
Awesome.
So this is done by Trump. This is not done by the Democrats. But you have to explain that, and especially to those in the Puerto Rican community living in Florida, we have to explain that to them, because this is. If I don't get elected, you're not doing anything with the pharmaceuticals again. They haven't even talked about it. They haven't thought about it. So you'll explain that. Biden opposes school choice. He vows to ban charter schools, and he opposes Florida's tax credit scholarship program, which is a big deal. In the second term, I'll provide school choice to every family in America. We'll have unlimited school choice. It's already happening. Many Latino and Hispanic Americans came here to pursue the American dream, having left countries that they just felt was very, very unsafe. And it's a very similar ideology, okay? If you look at Venezuela, you look at what's going on there, and you'll see some interesting things happening there. You look at that, and you look at what's going on in other countries. Some of you are from those other countries, and you got lucky to get out. But it's the same kind of thing that you'd see happen here. I'll tell you what, I'm like a wall. We're building the wall on the southern border. It's almost complete. But I'm like a wall between the American dream. I'll say this because it sounds nice, but it's true. I think Max would agree with it. Between the American dream, I'm a wall. Between the American dream and chaos and a horror show. It would be very bad. It would be very bad. Many Latino and Hispanic Americans came here to pursue the American dream, having left countries that really had a very, very unruly group of people. We're throwing out MS-13 all the time. The only one's not afraid is that guy right there. He wouldn't be afraid of MS-13. He's the only guy in the room. But they're rough, they're bad, and they're bad people. He's a great person, they're bad people. And we throw thousands and thousands out of our country. And if we didn't have ICE and these people, you would be living in real fear and real problems. And the funny thing about the southern border, the wall, safety, the people that understand the border better than anybody are the Hispanics. I have had more support when we build a wall, because they don't want bad people coming into our country. They don't want people coming into the country that are going to take their jobs. And they understand it better. And I always thought it would be the opposite in a way. They understand what we've done on the border. We have stopped it. And you can come into the country, but you have to come in legally. It's an incredible thing that's taken place over the last couple of years.
Very much so.
So Biden's a weak guy, I think. We have a debate coming up. It'll be interesting. It's like going into a match, same kind of thing, a little bit less physical, slightly. But it's
much of a competition.
To win matches, you need that up here. I don't care how tough you are. I see him. Well, he has guys that are so strong you can't even believe it. But this win is probably it's 50% of it. But I don't know what percentage would you say? Well, you got to have this too. But the head is what? What's the percent? 80. Okay, I'll go with 80. That's a lot. It's a lot. But it's true. I've seen it. You have guys that that if they had the right up here, they would be unbeatable. Is that right? Unbeatable. But it's great that it's that way, isn't it? It's really great. Vice President, when he was vice president, he met with Venezuelan dictator Maduro and showered him. Well, that seemed to hit the right. But Biden met with Maduro. He showered him with compliments, imposed the toughest ever sanctions and just really what he's done to us is just incredible. He's taken everything. I put sanctions on the likes of which they've never seen. And I'll tell you what, whether it's Iran or whether it's Venezuela, and they already want to talk. Everybody wants to talk, but they want to wait. I want to wait till after the election because I say wait. And a year ago, I said, you have a choice. We can talk now or we can talk after the election. But after the election, it's going to be a much tougher deal. And where do you see? And Cuba's doing very, very badly. Cuba's doing very badly. That island is they want to do something, but I'm not doing anything unless I speak with my friends that came up to the White House because they know exactly what they want to do. You have to have freedom. You have to have freedom, and we're going to do that. We're in a very good position. But met with Maduro, and it was all just lovey-dovey, and nothing happened. And I imposed the toughest sanctions ever imposed in Latin America. Senator Biden voted 5 times to cut funding to freedom fighters in Nicaragua. Anybody here involved with Nicaragua? Yes. And he protected the Ortega regime, and we've sanctioned them, and it's done a real, I'll tell you what, we have done a real job. All of these countries are going to come, we're going to make wonderful deals, but we have to wait till after the election. I told them, I said, no, I want to wait. I want to wait. Now, their dream, whether it's China, Russia, you see the stuff that just came out on Russia? So we caught them cold, Max. We caught them cold. It was a whole conspiracy, and it was the worst thing anyone's ever seen, and it was a takedown, and we caught them cold. It was all the opposite. They were the ones conspired. They got caught. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. We went through 3 years of crap. Let's see what happens now. They got caught. Did you see where they were buying insurance policies because they were afraid they were going to get caught? So they were buying insurance policies, FBI agents, in buying insurance policies for themselves because they were starting to think, this is really bad. We're going to get caught. I mean, it's not even believable. And there's more coming out. There's more coming out. It's getting deeper and worse and worse. And it was spying on the campaign, but that was the beginning. Then it was a coup. And, you never think of this country as a coup. You think of certain South American countries for coup, but we have them cold. I mean, it's an amazing thing that happened. And if the fake news would actually report it properly, it would be incredible. But they don't even have to report it. Although I have to tell you, CBS did an incredible piece last night. It was an incredible piece. So, but we got them, we caught them, and it's a terrible thing for our country, and it was so dishonest. And it was the exact opposite. It was the exact opposite. And they did deal with Russia. In fact, if you look at it, Joe Biden's son, Where's Hunter, right? His official name is Where's Hunter. He got $3.5 million from the wife of the mayor of Moscow. Think of that, $3.5 million. He got 3.5. His son got $3.5 million and he had nothing until Joe became vice president. He goes, why? Why? We're still trying to figure that one out. We'll figure it out. We'll figure. You must be from Cuba. You. Wow. But we'll figure it out. We're gonna get it. But no, it's a big story. It's a tremendous story. And on the internet, it's the biggest thing. It's taken over the internet. Nobody can even believe it. It would be great if the lamestream media would do something about it. But they tend not to. But I want to commend Catherine Herridge of CBS. She did an incredible piece on this, and she can't believe it. The last administration also surrendered to the narco-terrorists of Colombia. Anybody from Colombia? Well, you know what's going on there, right? You know what's going on there. Joe Biden even received the endorsement of Colombian socialist Gustavo Petro. Not good, right? Not a good endorsement. A former member of M19 guerrilla organization, right? No good, right? Good.
Thank you for the lemon.
Under my administration, we work with our Colombian partners to stabilize the region, which we've largely done, and launched a historic naval operation against the drug traffickers, and have taken in.
And welcome to all the new followers.
Tons and tons of really bad stuff. The Obama-Biden administration's horrendous Cuba policy betrayed the Cuban people and enriched Castro's regime. I ended that, and as you know, we ended it very strongly. We ended it. And we stand with every citizen of Cuba, Nicaragua, Venezuela in their fight for freedom. You know, this location is called Little Venezuela. Did you know that? There's so many Venezuelans, and they love me because I did a great job with this place. They liked me before I ran. This is little Venezuela, a tremendous Venezuela population in the Doral section of Miami. And they have, if you put up a house for sale, they say if it takes more than 2 days to sell, you're doing something wrong. That's how good. No, it's true. It's just like a really incredible piece. It's just a great location and incredible neighbors, incredible people. And I've gotten to know them really well because of this, and they're great. And it's going to work out very well. You watch. You watch. So we've achieved more. I've achieved more for the Hispanic Americans. And think of it. I've achieved more for Hispanic Americans in 47 months than Joe Biden has achieved in 47 years. He's been in it 47 years. I've done it for 47 months.
What's called career politician.
47 months. And it's amazing. 47, but he's been doing it for 47 years. I always get a kick. I see him, well, we should do this, or we should do that. I said, you've been doing this for 47 years, and now you're going to do it? And he's not exactly prime time, a little like a fighter. Someday I'm going to say, you got to take it easy now a little bit. Right now is prime time, but there'll be a time. It happens. This is not prime time for Joe. He never had too much of a prime time. But I will say this, 47 months and 47 years, it's true, we've done more. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go around the table a little bit, say a few words. Maybe we can take some questions from the audience if we can. We'll do it fast. If we go fast, we can take a couple of questions from them. And it's really great to be here with you. It's just a really, and I appreciate your support. Great to be here. Okay. Why don't we start right there? Go ahead. We'll go fast and we'll take a couple of questions. We'll get one
Mr.
from
President.
Max.
Good morning, Mr. President.
Good morning. Hi.
I'm usually a construction guy. You never see me wearing a suit like this.
I know that. That's true.
Actually, true story. I just bought it 2 days ago, so hope it looks good. My name is Santiago Zuleta. I own a small construction firm in Central Florida. We do concrete work, sidewalks, walls for highways, bridges, county work, city work. And I mean, really having a company has always been the dream of my life, especially given my background. So I was born in Colombia in the early 80s, where the violence, it was a terrible time. I actually lost my father at the age of 7 to the violence. And my mother was a single mother at the time with a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old to support us. She did an amazing job. Luckily, we had the great opportunity to come to the United States when I was 15. My brother was 13 years old. We moved to the United States. And out of all the places in the United States that a Latino family, not speaking English, not knowing the culture, could land, we ended up in Mobile, Alabama. Hey, but talk about a culture shock. But what a blessing that was. Though that place, some beautiful people. We ran across some amazing people that support us along the way, and then from there, I went to the University of Florida and graduated with Go Gators! Graduated with a degree of civil engineering, and then I started working for one of the largest contractors in the U.S., building roads, light rails, highways. But I've always had that dream in the back of my mind of owning my own company. And a few years ago, with my wife, we decided to make the jump and go for it. It was pretty scary, but the economy was so strong that it was the right time. And it's a really rewarding, but it has some tough days, And you really, a lot of times you hear the politicians and people talk about, what they do for small businesses, and the small businesses are the core of the economy. But in my opinion, Mr. President, what you've done with the tax cuts for the small businesses have been the greatest achievement done in years.
Definitely.
I'll tell you why, because a lot of people talk, but there hasn't really been tangible change, But the tax cut is real dollars that go into businesses to reinvest. For me, it means having a little extra cash in the bank at the end of the day to give bonuses to my guys, because they deserve it. They deserve more than that. God knows that. But so it's amazing. The tax cuts, it's amazing for small businesses. So thank you for that, Mr. President. It gives me the ability to grow my business, to take larger projects, to invest in equipment and people. So thank you for that, and I hope people understand the importance of continuity. We have to keep this fight. We have to keep the tax reform and the help to small businesses for years to come. So,
Right. Thank you very much. So those tax cuts that help so many businesses, including small businesses, they will be gone if Biden gets in. You know they're going to wipe them out. So just remember that, and it won't be the same. You'll be losing a lot of jobs. So that's the way it works. It's unfortunate. Thank you. Great job. Appreciate it. Please.
Thank you, Mr. President, and the opportunity from you and your staff to share during National Small Business Week my story. My name is Erica Benfield, and I'm a Puerto Rican moved stateside at just 6 years old. Like many of us on this panel, we came here for the American dream. That's not the only start to my story. It goes back one generation back. My grandfather was a prisoner of war in Korea for 2 years, a Borinquenier. And when I saw what you and your administration did in returning the bodies to his comrades and others who couldn't make it back on their own, it meant a lot to me. We thank them for their service. Like my grandfather, my family also taught me great work ethic. And with the moral support of my husband, back in 2008, I started my first brick and mortar business. 2008, you know that year, the crash.
That's right.
During the Obama administration, there were hardly any loans for a business like mine. I didn't qualify, but it was tough, but we did it. I had an intern and myself, and we started in less than 500 square feet. 12 years later, Florida Living Quarters, FLQ Interiors, thanks to you and your administration, qualified for our first SBA loan. That 500 square foot store is now 5,000 square feet, 10 times the size in 12 years.
Awesome.
Doesn't end there. I signed an exclusivity to sell only American-made blind shades and shutters. I said no to China. I will not sell Chinese products in my store. Last year, in 1 year, we saw 300% growth. When COVID-19 hit, we were the second quarter into our newly expanded showroom, and we had to make tough choices. I still remember the words from Congressman Waltz, "Keep pushing, the second wave of PPP is coming." And thanks to you and your administration, we qualified not only for the PPP loan, but also for the SBA loan forgiveness for 6 months. It saved every job, even our intern from the local college. Mr. President, I want to thank you personally because I feel that you've done more than what you promised. You say promises made, promises kept, but you did more than that for a business like mine. But it doesn't end there. Like you, in 2016, I ran for office for the first time and was elected as the first Latina, Hispanic elected official in the city of DeBerry.
Nice.
Not one business has permanently closed in our city. And I believe that because we have kept taxes low, we have the lowest crime rate in the state of Florida, and our people help each other. Under the leadership of Governor DeSantis, we are investing and bringing more people to Florida. I'm not a polished politician. I'm probably more nervous than anyone up here on this panel because it's only been 4 years, but you do a really good job, Mr. President. I invite you to visit DeBary and Volusia County, again, the home of NASCAR. And let me tell you, the Beast makes one hell of a pace car because I was there. I don't like heights, and I strapped in my seat and was there for that beautiful patriotic moment high up in the bleachers, greeting you into our county. I hope you can remember me and my story because I will never forget this day and the opportunity to thank you in person. And by the way, today is my 16-year-old son's birthday, Connor, and I ask you to wish him a happy birthday because he's sharing his mom in an effort like you to keep America great again.
Awesome.
It's today.
Great job.
That was great.
Great job. Thank you very much. Please.
Good morning, Mr. President. It's a great pleasure to see you here in sunny Florida. My name is Juan Guerre. I am electrical engineer. I run a company here in this beautiful state. We work worldwide, actually, in more than 45 countries from here. We also have operations in Chile, Colombia, and Mexico. I have to say first that our company really received a wonderful help, you see, from the central government. And it was not promises, it was true. Actually, the PPP program, the SBA program, you see, helped us a lot to keep our employees. And actually, we keep all our employees and we'll keep them if you stay enough. Let me say that. I have to say also that as Colombian, I am American Colombian citizen. I was Deputy Secretary of Energy in Colombia, and I had the privilege to work directly with President Uribe, that you know that he is unfairly under house arrest. Actually, I want to mention that because Colombia is a beautiful country. You already mentioned that. And we need you to help the country to avoid being taken into communism. I want to say also that I am the president of the Colombian American Chamber of Commerce here in Miami. And all the companies that we support, which are established here, have been also helped a lot by the government. The government that you are now presiding, and you know, thanks to your help, thanks to your determination, you know, with the small businesses, really, all of them are doing, I would say, pretty well. I haven't seen none of them really going crashed. And finally, I want to say that I cooperate with the Department of Commerce, in particular with the DEC, which is the District Export Council. I am a member of the directive board there, and I can see, and I can say both, that actually they are helping a lot American companies to survive. So, Mr. President, we are extremely grateful, you know, because of thanks to your administration, we are doing fine. Now we need you to be 4 more years here.
Yes.
You know, and not only for America, for this beautiful country, for our country, but also because you are the wall against the communism, perhaps in the rest of America, in the rest of Latin America. Mr. President, thank you very much, and please win this win again, you know, Mr. Biden.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You know, I used to say, and I meant it, but I didn't know it had such meaning, that we could be a Venezuela too. You know, Venezuela 15 years ago was a very wealthy country, and a very, very wealthy country, prosperous, talked about all over the world, one of the wealthiest, and just looked like it had a tremendous future. And then all of a sudden, they went with a different ideology, and right now we send water, we send food. They don't have anything. They don't have medicine. They literally don't have water. And they have oil, so it's not just the oil. I mean, they haven't done anything right with the oil. They don't know what is happening in that country. That country is a total disaster. It could happen. It could happen because if you look at some of these people that you
can't
see
let
with
it
the
happen.
storefronts and breaking down and the riots and everything that's going on, it's the same ideology. That's what happened with Venezuela. One day it was gone. It was just gone. And so, it could happen here. This would be a Venezuela on a major steroids, okay? This would be a Venezuela that would be a very large version of it, but it could happen. And a year ago, I started saying that 2 years ago. It could happen because I'd see the thinking. I'd see some of this thinking, and I'd say, that could actually happen. That could actually happen, but we're not going to let it happen. It doesn't happen. With me, it doesn't happen. But you put the wrong people in office. You put the wrong people in office. It could happen. It could happen rapidly. Okay, let's go. Claudia.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's a real pleasure to be here with you today and this wonderful panel. My name is Claudia Rigo. I'm from Honduras.
Good.
I moved to this country, the land of the free, as I said, 18 years ago, 2002. And I married a wonderful man, have two wonderful kids. And we both had a background in manufacturing. So we decided to start a business here in the United States and also in Honduras. We did both. But in 2015, when you started running for president, that you started promoting the Made in USA and Made in USA, we say, this is the moment. It's coming. So we decided to start, take the risk and do some investment here in buying some equipment and taking advantage of the tax cut that we had in buying equipment.
Right.
That helped us a lot because we thought that it was the right moment to move and start investing like in high equipment because what we're doing is printing fabrics and clothing. Okay, our business name is Designers Manufacturer. We created that business back in 2016. So we started bringing more equipment, getting ready for what is coming. Okay, and now after your 3 years or almost 4 years of presidency, we notice how everything is coming back right now, how businesses were booming, even right now with all these problems that we have with the COVID. We notice how many factories and businesses are calling us that they want to bring their business back to America. They say, we don't want made in China. We want to do products. Yes, this is something that we receive, not every day, but every week, Mr. President, we receive calls from different companies that they want to say, we want our products made in USA. We don't care if we have to pay more, but we want to manufacture here. So that's why we took the chance and we said, okay, let's add manufacturing, let's add sewing, let's add cutting. So we added more to our businesses. And now it's so much business that we're getting from overseas and also local business that we don't have enough. We have more demand than we can to hire people. Like we're lack of personnel right now.
Mhm.
We need more people because in this business that we have right now, which is manufacturing, this business was gone long ago in the 80s when all this CAFTA and NAFTA and all these agreements, all these businesses were lost. Everything left. And so the people that we need right now need the training because nobody knows how to do this. Nobody knows how to do the sewing, the cutting, all the engineering part that we need. So we're trying to train people now, but we're willing to do it because it's so much demand that we have right now
Good.
that we're willing to do that. And Made in America is excellent. Thanks to you, Mr. President.
Absolutely. Bravo.
Well, a very big thing, because you mentioned it, but we terminated one of the worst trade deals ever made anywhere, I guess, NAFTA, and we now have USMCA, Mexico, Canada, and It's a fantastic deal. You'll see that just kicked in, and everyone said that couldn't be done. There's no way to get rid of the NAFTA deal. It was a terrible deal. We lost so much business to Mexico and so much business to Canada, and I was able to get that done. We've got it actually passed, and it's USMCA is now the deal, and it's great for our country, and it's going to keep our businesses in our country, and it was a great achievement. Please go ahead. Yeah. How are you?
Can you hear me? Yeah. First, I want to say it is an incredible honor to be here today. And thank you for listening to my story. I want to thank also Latinos for Trump for what they're doing in the state of Florida. There's a big movement in Florida. We're all for you. And we're working hard to bring the Latino vote and to win the Latino vote in the state of Florida. So I want to thank you for listening to my story. My name is Carla Salvatierra. I came from Nicaragua in 1987. I was 16 years old. I came with two sisters, no parents, with nothing other than the dream to build an American dream and to escape communism and the fear of everything we lost. I saw my country change in a few years. When people say it's not going to happen or it would take forever to change, that's not the reality.
Right.
It happens quick. I saw it. I saw it coming. I am very involved, and I'm volunteer for Latinos for Trump because I see it. I lived it. Nobody can tell me the story. I lived the experience. When I came to the United States, I didn't speak the language. I started from the bottom. I worked at Burger King, Winn-Dixie. I lived in Miami for about 7 years. Then I relocated to Orlando, Florida, where I obtained my real estate license in 1995. I went into the timeshare industry, and I worked in the industry for 15 years. I held different positions from sales to trainer to director. And in 2009, I decided to join my husband's company, Tax and Accounting, Taxon Inc. And at the same time, I started doing general real estate. And presently this year, I'm developing homes in Osceola County, Florida. 2 years ago, we decided to go into a partnership in a restaurant, a small family-owned Italian restaurant in Orlando. The restaurant was thriving. The economy was amazing. A lot of our business came from the tourism industry, timeshare, hotels. And in the last few years, since you've been the president, it's been the best few years in our business. And when COVID hit, our restaurant suffered. We were forced to shut down. But thanks to your brilliant idea to help small businesses with the PPP program, we were able to keep all our employees and find ways to make our business grow locally without depending on the tourism industry. And we were able to keep all our employees. Our business is doing well today.
Good.
And we are hopeful, and we know that with you as our president for the next 4 years, we're going to do 10 times better than we did before.
Most definitely.
That's good.
I have 4 children. One is a veteran in the Navy. One's a veteran from the Air Force. One is active duty in the Navy, stationed in Virginia. And I have, my youngest is a school teacher. She teaches U.S. history and civics. I want to thank you for what you do for our military, our veterans. our teachers, our police officers, our first responders. You care, and it means a lot to me.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I also want to thank you for what you've done for Israel. I converted to Judaism.
Most definitely. Absolutely.
I converted to Judaism 6 years ago. Israel means the world to me. And you've done more for Israel than any other president ever. And I can't think of anyone better than you to receive the Nobel Peace Prize for what you've done in the region.
Absolutely. He's going to get it. I'll tell you right now, he's going to get the Nobel Peace Prize. I've known since 2017.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Congratulations. It's a beautiful job. And the restaurant will be open and you'll be very successful with it very soon. It's coming back very rapidly. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Appreciate it. Okay, please.
Buenos dias. Good morning, Mr. President.
Nice to see you.
Thank you for hosting this round table. My name is Hiram Terrell. I'm a former banker from San Juan, Puerto Rico. I've been living in Central Florida for the last 20 years. I have 5 children. I have 4 grandkids. I run a family business, which is El Cilantrillo restaurant, that I opened it with my wife, Diane, that is just on the audience today. El Cilantrillo was created out of a great need. When I was in corporate America, I used to go out to lunch, and I couldn't find, the great taste from my country, from Puerto Rico. So we decided to open in 2017 our first location in Kissimmee, Florida. And with the success of our first location, we opened in the heart of Orlando, our second location, 3 miles from the airport. So we have 60 employees and have them able to keep them because of the PPP program. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Once we're allowed to open, we quickly pivot to create family meals and created partnership with delivery companies like Uber Eats and DoorDash, and happy to share that part of our business has grown by 50%. So the CARE Act was critical for keeping our economy afloat. Thank you, Mr. President, for keeping our small business top of mind. Last but not least, Mr. President, my heart is with my beloved island of Puerto Rico. Although I don't reside there, but my parents do. My dad is a Navy veteran, U.S. Coast Guard veteran too. I wanted to thank you for providing billions of aid and strong support to help Puerto Rico recover from devastating natural disasters and to rebuild the infrastructure. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you. Great job.
And for those who's not very familiar, they got hit by a hurricane and a lot of damage. The president was on the ball. FEMA got in there with the aid, water, food, got electricity restored. It's probably still, really hasn't been too much news on Puerto Rico lately, but there's been a lot of corruption that has surfaced. People have been arrested in Puerto Rico, Democrats, of course. So the great citizens of Puerto Rico, please support this president this November.
Also, thank you, Mr. President, for bringing back pharmaceutical manufacturing in Puerto Rico. That meant a lot to us. I remember when I was in banking, I used to be on that, department, manufacturing, and that hurts us a lot, the economy. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
We'll take care of it. Thank you very much. Great job.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Carolina Ferreiro, and I came from Havana, Cuba. 36 years ago. I came at the age of 6 with my parents and my little sister, fleeing obviously the horrible Castro regime. This country is where that gave us the freedom that we wanted to thrive. It's where our family grew our faith and we dreamed of a better generation to come. Our family business is Farm and Natural. We make the best vitamins in America here in Miami Lakes, Florida. And this year, with the CARE Act, with the with the tax cuts and the job acts, we were able to expand, give back to our employees, add jobs. But then COVID came and everything was uncertain. But with your quick actions and your awesome leadership, Mr. President, we're able to get PPP and save many jobs. As a result, we answered your call when you said to the private sector, help, so we stopped making some vitamins and we started making some hand sanitizers for our first responders. Although we manufacture here in the USA and made in USA, we still, for the last 18 years, our company has depended on China for the components and for soft gels and gummies. This year, we're taking the leap and we're expanding our operations and we're bringing gummies and soft gels to our manufacturing facilities, so we no longer can depend on China.
Wow.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Great job. Good morning, Mr. President. I am honored and humbled to be part of this very distinguished table, especially with all our guests. I know Cubans told Venezuelans, be careful with Maduro. Venezuelans are now in Cuban Americans and telling Colombians, be careful with Petro. We hear you. We hear you. My name is Fabio Andrade. I'm a Colombian American and I'm a Uribista, a true believer, like many Colombian Americans in Florida, of former President Uribe, who is the wall in Colombia to start Castro Chavismo that has been trying to take over our country and is moving to the United States. We appreciate and want to thank Vice President Pence for his support to Uribe by tweeting that he should be able to defend himself in freedom. There is a real threat in Colombia with the leftist senators and terrorists that are in Congress, especially Petro, an ally of Maduro. Not only is he supporting Biden, but he also has people in Miami that are participating in demonstrations asking for votes for Biden, and is constantly attacking those of us who support your re-election, Mr. President, for 4 more years. In addition, former President Juan Manuel Santos, the man that gave impunity to the FARC terrorists in the so-called peace process that was supported by Obama-Biden administrations, is calling for demonstrations and arrests to weaken President Duque's government. Santos has a U.S. visa. He lives here. Now, for the business matter at hand, I have many others have visas here that should not be here. But anyway, now the business matter at hand, I'm in the commercial airline business for 30 years, and I've been able to have my dream to work in the aviation industry in New York, California, and now here in Florida. I was assisted by the PPP program, not only to save my job, but many others in our community. I have a non-for-profit organization, America's Business Network, that we were able to assist 107 companies, and many more people received that assistance, Mr. President. When they knew I was coming for this meeting, they wanted to say thank you, and I'm the voice for them to say thank you, because you really are surviving small businesses in our community. Thank you very much. Talking about Latino entrepreneurship, Hispanic entrepreneurship, there's 2 men in this forum that have acquired a home-based airline that filed for Chapter 7, Miami Air, that services the Department of Defense, and had laid off 350 people here in Miami. We're working hard with due diligence with the Department of Transportation.
with the FAA and the Treasury to get the 350 employees back to work. We already hired 30, a first plane coming at the end of this month, and 6 more to come very quickly after that. Mr. President, the Airline Cares Act, as an aviation person, is key to the industry, but it's key here in South Florida for Miami Air to bring those employees back to work and continue to service the Department of Defense. Mr. President, Colombian Americans in Florida have been working closely with our county census chairman, Commissioner Steve Bobo, to count the estimated 1 million Colombians in Florida, of which, Mr. President, 58% are U.S. citizens and are issue-based voters who do not want the leftist socialist government in the United States. Our business people that are here with us today also are very grateful and are very optimistic, Mr. President, with the nearshoring program and the America's Crescent program to support our companies, especially here in Florida as well, and our allies like Panama and Colombia. It's an excellent program, and let me congratulate you, sir. We are looking forward for this implementation and partner up to assist those projects on the nearshoring program. Those three key issues about Colombians, Mr. President, Colombian American, is key to mobilizing the community, and they're out there working, and we're going to get you reelected for 4 more years, Mr. President, no doubt.
Amen.
I have a small token. This is a hat made by Colombian artisans. As you see, it's from 2020. Yeah. This is our symbol out there. We're working for you in the campaign and getting you reelected. This is made by hand. It could be folded. You could put it in your pocket. It folds back again.
That's okay.
We're honored if you accept it,
you,
Mr. President. And Trump, 4 more years.
Yes, indeed.
Four more years.
So, 4 years ago, we were elected. I didn't think it was a surprise because I saw the crowds, I saw the spirit. We had tremendous spirit, incredible spirit, actually. And it was something special. That was the most exciting night, the evening, that beautiful November evening, right? And I actually think now, and I used to say, well, that was really important, but this one's going to be equal. It's really not. This is going to be a more important election. And I think it's going to be an even bigger victory. And, you know, we were talking about bringing the country together. And we were doing that because people were calling. We were so successful. I mean, even now you have all these records for Hispanic Americans, Latinos, all records. We have tremendous records. But just before the plague came in from China, they should have stopped it. They should have stopped it. But just before it came in, people were calling me, Democrats were calling me, they wanted to get together. It was happening because we had the best job numbers, we had the best businesses, we had the best everything. We've rebuilt our military. By the way, our vets are in great shape now. Our vets are fantastic. Veterans' choice, accountability, so many things. But we did things that nobody ever thought were possible and did them pretty quickly over a period of 3 years. And nobody's done what we've done in 3 years, 3.5 years. But then the plague came in and we had to close it up, but we had to rebuild it, and we saved millions of lives by closing it. But now we're rebuilding it. It's going much faster than before. But I can tell you, it was all coming together. People say, how do you get them together? I said, success. We were there. It was all happening. And then China sent us the plague. But it was all happening. And now it's happening again. And that's exactly what we're doing. But I just want to thank this community. I want to thank so many of the champions. You have some great people out in the audience, friends of mine, a lot of friends of mine, and somebody I have great respect for because I respect when somebody is the best at what they do. I want to thank Jorge Masvidal for being with us. Jorge Masvidal. When is your next fight, Jorge? Your next fight is a biggie. When is that? Oh, work. Get plenty of money, okay? Get plenty of money, but work. But definitely have it because I want to watch it, okay? We'll be watching. We'll be rooting for you. But thank you for being here, Jorge. You're really a great champ. You're great at what you do, and it's right up here too. And don't let anyone ever think it isn't. But I want to thank everybody for being here. And Max, thank you very much. Great job you've done. Great job. We will go on. We're going to win. We're going to have 4 great years. I think next year is going to be one of the best years we've ever had. It's all heading on that direction. And I will never forget our Hispanic American community. It's just been with me. Even 4 years ago, we did very well. And with the Cubans, we were at 90%. Now I think, I don't know, is it possible to be at 100%? But we've always done well, but now it's really reached a new level. I will never forget you, and I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
He is truly a man of the people, without a doubt. I'm going to do a little something different than I originally planned for you. I will probably get to something else. I would say maybe Sunday, maybe Monday, depending on who the nomination is that the president picks for the Supreme Court. Never know, right? So on that note, let's see if I can do this. Well, I'll probably have to do it this way. I'm going to bring you this because you still got protests going on. This is something I really don't bring too much, but I decided to do it anyway. So I will double screen it. This is California, San Diego, Los Angeles, that's Angeles, some say, Portland, and no, they're all Portland. How about that? Doesn't look too bad today. There seems to be some arrests today. I normally avoid this, but I think it's starting to be more apparent that it needs to be shown. Not only to show what these people are, which are anarchists, and they just want to burn shit. Now remember, some people have to be reminded, Project Veritas had shown Bernie supporters saying, well, they'll just burn the whole damn city down, basically, if Bernie doesn't win the primaries. Well, it didn't win. So these are also goonaberries that you have Soros paying to do this. Now, this is all a distraction, of course, because the Arona is not working for them. And this is all they got. Now they're trying to bring up Russia again. But looks like they're bringing in more National Guard in Los Angeles. Or is that Atlanta? Oh, it's Atlanta. And so this is, a lot of people say, well, why does the president do anything? Well, it's the state. The state's responsibility to take care of this. So it looks like a lot of it's very peaceful. But like I said, some people did get arrested. And I think that was in Los Angeles. Well, they're saying that in Los Angeles there are riots. Well, you don't see too much of that right now. So the only way the president can intervene is either asked by the governor or the Insurrection Act. Governors don't get their shit together. That's what he's going to do. So hopefully it doesn't look too bad in Portland. Excuse me. Looks like they're a little bit more civil than what they've been, but it's still early. It's only, 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock there from where I am on the West Coast, or excuse me, East Coast. And they're saying Chaz has been given permission to rebuild. That ought to be very interesting. We're going to see how long it takes the governor to take it down. And we need explanations why she allowed that. I believe in Oregon. I agree with some people. I think Oregon's going to go red. People are tired of this shit. They are fed up with the lawlessness and everything that goes with it. Let's put some sound in there. Too loud though.
Thank you for the stars.
This is just a live feed I picked up. At least a couple of them. To kind of show you what's going on. So far, it looks very peaceful, somewhat peaceful in Oregon. But again, it's still very early. So I thought I'd share that with you. Oh, there's some assholes burning the flag. Figures they have to do that. See, this was the problem with schools today, especially in Los Angeles on the west side. They've been so indoctrinated that they don't understand that how many hundreds of thousands over the centuries have died for that flag and what that symbolism means. They're taking their freedom for granted. And it is part of the possibly, now I don't know their background, they could be come from very abusive backgrounds, you never know. They could be rebellious, they could be anything. But Black Lives Matter has infiltrated our schools. And with the 1776 Project Act, it'll re-educate our kids on the meaning of their freedom and what our country is supposed to be. Now, they don't even understand our Constitution gives them the right, freedom of protesting and assembly. They're allowed to speak their mind, but they're not allowed to act in violence. That is unacceptable, without a doubt. What are these people going to do when the president decides to declare them a terrorist organization? Are they still going to hold their head up high very arrogantly? I doubt they will. And for those who do, you got a problem. You got a real problem. This is not, spray painting a building. It goes much further than that. Luckily, in this state, it hasn't happened very much. It has happened as far as rioting, but not to this extent. Our governor did cut our funding for our police, which is absolutely wrong. They got, can you deprogram somebody like this? It'll be difficult, but it can be done. But once they act in a destructive manner then it's a different story. And I've said it before, they're going to bring it with them the rest of their life. It will never go away. And now, Bloomberg, of all people, Bloomberg is raising money to bail these assholes out. He's got himself in a lot of trouble. And Barr is looking into that. Barr was an excellent choice, by the way, for Attorney General. Gonna start calling him The Rock. I think that's a great nickname for him. It should be. Should be that. AG Barr The Rock. Or somewhat of that manner. But then you have people like Nadler who shits his pants in the conference. National television. How many seen that? Did they like anybody who's seen, what was it, yesterday? You had Nadler, which I've dubbed the Penguin, and you have Pelosi and somebody else all at the podium. The Penguin's sitting over there, and he's so stiff as a board. Well, apparently he must have shit his pants, because the way he is waddling, you have no other explanation for it. It was just funny. That's like, what's his name? Swallow farted during an interview. So these idiots apparently forget that they can be recognized. They're not too bright, I'm telling you. They're not the brightest bulb in the package. It looks like it's kind of calmed down as far as LA, San Diego. I know there's a curfew in one of these cities. I think they're also protesting in Atlanta. I was talking to somebody in California yesterday, and they were complaining about the fires. I go, well, it was arson, and they've arrested people for this. In fact, there's video of these people literally starting the fires. Well, this person didn't really believe me. So it was quite an interesting conversation by far. You know? But it was kind of interesting when you try to wake people up and they just don't want to, or they have a hard time understanding what is actually going on. When it comes to the left, sometimes you actually do have people that wake up. And I think that's the best kind. Let me see. Then, like this gentleman.
And this, I'm just doing this walkaway video because why not? Because I want to, and this political BS that's going on around here, I just want to say I'm walking away from the Democrat Party. I'll never get involved with them again. Technically, I've always been an independent voter, but when the first time I was able to vote was in 2018, I voted Democrat. For some reason, I was just kind of naive, a bit more naive, even though I never fully believe in the whole Democrats are good narrative, you know. I never agree with everything they said, especially with illegal immigration and all the cancel culture, political correctness stuff. So a quick background. I was born in Hong Kong, and I moved to the United States when I was very little, around 9. And I've been living in California for about 11 years until this whole virus started. And I just recently moved to Seattle since my mom got a new job. So that's a quick background story. And back to my story. Here are some reasons why I'm done with the Democratic Party. It's because like all these protests, the riots, and also what they stand for, especially with socialism, communism, all that whatnot thing. What really got me started was back in last year. I was watching the news, and Hong Kong, as you know, is going through a lot of political crisis right now with the whole national security law and the extradition bill. Well, the extradition bill started everything with all the protests, the fight against the Chinese Communist Party, and that's when I really got into it. I started to post a lot more. Hey, we need to pay attention to what's happening in Hong Kong because of the authoritarian Chinese government, and I don't want America to be in this way. Okay, like I didn't move to America for more communism. That's not what I came here for. That's not what my parents and I sacrificed for. And then a lot of these candidates, like Bernie Sanders, like, oh my gosh, don't get me started on Bernie because of his so-called democratic socialist policies, thinking, oh, there's free healthcare, free childcare, free education. Bernie, go take an economic class, please. Like, you never had a real job. You just have 3 houses. You're a multi-millionaire. You practically didn't have to you didn't have to work for it. All you need to do is get into office and that's it. Okay. Oh my gosh. Yet he manages to fool so many young people at my age. Like, I'm in college right now, and so I've seen so many people that are foolishly following his dangerous ideologically policies, and not to mention they think, oh, that wasn't real communism in Cuba and China and Venezuela and all those dictatorships in Latin America that have failed because of socialist governments and politicians who claims that they are for the people, when all they do is drag people under the bus. Okay? America will never be socialist or communist. Okay?
Smart kid.
And with this whole virus situation, I really don't know who to trust right now because, okay, Trump is far from perfect, but the governors, all these politicians, they're so untrustworthy too. I don't know what these politicians are thinking or doing. Like, you gotta have a real solution. Trump doesn't have control over what you guys are doing, okay? This is your job. Help the small businesses. Give us a real plan. Like, these businesses have suffered enough, which is why I completely understand why they're protesting against these politicians, the governors. I'm like, we want to go back to work. Yeah. How else are they gonna pay the bills? How else are they gonna feed their families? Like, for those of you who are saying, oh, they're wrong, there's a pandemic going. You should hold the same standard for these BLM protests. Like, they have a right to protest. What happened to George Floyd was tragic. That cop should be in jail for life. But when you start rioting, that's the end of the line for me, okay? And I don't understand why you're saying, oh, look, we understand why they're angry. Like, that does not give you the right to start rioting, breaking people's, start shooting people, especially what happened in Seattle right now, the whole chop mess. Don't get me started on that, because, like, Jenny Durkin, like, I live in Seattle downtown right now. Jenny Durkin is a coward. She and Jay Inslee, the Washington governor, They're cowards. They don't know how to fight the virus. They don't know how to fight against the mob. Summer of Love, save me. Just give me a break, Summer of Love. Like, so much Summer of Love when they have a higher murder rate than El Salvador. So much Summer of Love when actually black kids getting shot and killed. And then you didn't do anything until the mob came to your house. And then you said, oh, everyone has to go home now. I'm done with the Dems. Like, I don't know, they're cowards. Durkin is a coward. I don't care if you're part of the LGBTQ community. That's fine. But what you're doing is pure coward. It's just pure, I don't know what the word to say. Like, you're a coward. You should step down.
She's a dumb bitch.
Unless you want to be voted out. Okay? And also, the whole Antifa mess. The whole Black Lives Matter mess. Look, black community, we hear you. The cop needs to be in jail for life. Okay? That cop is messed up. I don't know what he's thinking. Okay? We need police reforms, stricter training, and better body cams. But defund police narrative, you guys need to stop saying, oh, defund police would actually be better because we can handle the money better. We can give it to better programs. First of all, cutting the police, I just found a really good USA Today article saying that from a former police cop, he's a black police officer. And he said that, look, defunding the police means cutting social programs that can benefit the black community's relationship with police officers. That's what you're harming right now, okay? It's not saying, oh, cut the salaries, we want to cut out the back comp. Then you could just focus on the bad unions that are protecting bad cops, bad teachers, and everything. And also, Antifa. I don't want to talk too much because they're dangerous. I don't want to get them involved, but can you just stop waving communist flags? They call themselves anti-fascists, yet they beat people up for disagreeing with them. That's not okay, okay? And also you waving communist flags, go read a history book, read the Cultural Revolution, okay? And read how Chinese communism is literally pushing people down. As I've said before, I didn't move from Hong Kong for more communism/socialism, okay? That's the end of the line for me. And what President Trump is doing with China, the whole sanctions thing, I want him to continue to do that, even if he has his own self-interest. But at the same time, remember, he's a businessman, okay? He's not perfect. I never say he's perfect. I may not agree with him on everything, but with this, the whole political BS that's going on, the whole election thing, President Donald Trump has to be Joe Biden, okay? I don't know what Joe Biden's doing. He's too old to do anything.
Joe Biden don't know what he's doing either.
Especially with his crime bill, his whole. He also, I can link some racist things that he said from campus reform. You can say it's a right-wing source. I don't care. Like, attacks you on the right. You can attack the media can attack Donald Trump from the left side, but if you want that, hold both Trump and Biden to the same standard, okay? That's it. I'm done with the Democratic Party. I don't want to vote for them again unless they actually have someone good. Like, the party hasn't been the same ever since JFK died. Like, to me, JFK was the last good Democrat. Like, he was eloquent. He handled the Cuba crisis well, but his death was the end of the line, pretty much. Like, once he died, the party died with him too. Like, as President Ronald Reagan said, I didn't leave the Democratic Party. The party left me. That's how I feel right now. And also these politicians, these Democratic politicians, with all these fake promises with cities like affordable housing and free healthcare, yet they never work. All taxes keep going up. At least Washington State has no income tax, but God forbid if they start implementing income tax. I'll move to Texas soon if that happens. This needs to stop, okay? And also, people, one last thing with all the BS that's going on, y'all need to stop saying all cops are bad, because like that's just generalizing, okay? My mom had friends who are police officers back in Hong Kong. They work hard and they're honorable people, okay? We'll call out bad cops, but we also should appreciate what the good cops have done for us, okay? So this is my video, my walkaway video. No one paid me to do this. I just wanted to do it because, like, I don't know what the Dems are doing. They got no one good. I'm done with them. I don't want to vote for them again. So I don't want you to start attacking me for having a different opinion for you. That's the thing, so-called tolerance. We gotta, like, be able to voice our opinions without getting attacked, even if you disagree with them, okay? So that's my video. Thank you for listening.
For decades. He has many, many good points, but Antifa's never going to listen. They'll keep doing what they do because they're just jack-offs. The only way they're going to stop what they're doing is through law and order, which obviously Durkin doesn't seem to care. Sooner or later, the president's going to have to get involved, I think. I'm only guessing. Because, and this is actually a point that I've made before. Now, I've never seen this until now. But when I tell you, and I've been telling you, a lot of Dems are going to walk away because they don't like the violence. They don't like the rhetoric. And they sure the hell don't like what's going on at the Dem party at all. Soft Dems, independents, are walking away. They're going. They don't want to have anything to do with this shit. I think one of the best points that he made, or at least one of them, is there haven't been a good Democrat since JFK, which is true. You've had Jimmy Carter, who is just as corrupt as the rest of them. When it comes to George Floyd, he was incorrect on that. George Floyd was a criminal. And he was hopped up on drugs, some probably God only knows what. If you haven't seen that body cam. So if you haven't, check it out. You know what people are talking about. There's been rumors, at least some have said, that the cop and George Floyd worked together at one point. So this is not really a innocent man, if you will, who died. He could have died from many things. So I think what is going on is Black Lives Matter, Antifa are finding an excuse to riot and pillage and destroy. How many people knew who George Floyd was besides in his neighborhood? Nobody. He was a regular man. He did his thing, got in trouble. Nobody knew him until this happened. How many black on black incidences does Chicago report on? From my understanding and what I've seen, zero. At least not in the world news. Maybe local, one here, one there. But it is not talked about. It is not addressed. That is something very important, and that is something that needs to be addressed. Not, yeah, there are bad cops, but as he said, they're not all bad. There are a couple bad apples, and that's unfortunate. So people seem to be jumping on the bandwagon whenever an incident happens, when it comes to a cop, when it comes to a thug. Now, they even Black Lives Matter are even like taunting black cops. We need to support our local police and all the police, state, county, local, all of them. They are here for us. They are here to protect us. And isn't it really funny in Chaz that when there were shootings, they wanted the police? Well, wait a minute. They wanted to defund the police. They didn't want the police in Chaz. You can't have it both ways. You know? From last time they did. Wonder how many times it's going to happen this time. Durkin. Oh, I'm telling you, man. It's a crazy world. It's very interesting. I suspect Law and Order is going to be coming very soon. Very soon. Not only to Antifa, not only to Black Lives Matter, but people like Bloomberg, Comey, McCabe, piece of shit Strzok, and piece of shit Brennan, and others. Then Nadler will probably have a real reason to shit his pants on TV. Let's just say. That's excuse me. There we go.
If we look to the answer as to why for so many years we achieved so much, prospered as no other people on earth, it was because here in this land we unleashed the energy and individual genius of man to a greater extent than has ever been done before. Freedom and the dignity of the individual have been more available and assured here than in any other place on earth. The price for this freedom at times has been high, but we have never been unwilling to pay that price. Those who say that we're in a time when there are no heroes, they just don't know where to look. The sloping hills of Arlington National Cemetery, with its row upon row of simple white markers bearing crosses or stars of David, they add up to only a tiny fraction of the price that has been paid for our freedom. Each one of those markers is a monument to the kind of hero I spoke of earlier. Their lives ended in places called Belleau Wood, the Argonne, Omaha Beach, Salerno, and halfway around the world on Guadalcanal, Tarawa, Pork Chop Hill, the Chosin Reservoir, and in 100 rice paddies and jungles of a place called Vietnam. Under one such marker lies a young man, Martin Treptow, who left his job in a small-town barber shop in 1917 to go to France with the famed Rainbow Division. There on the Western Front, he was killed trying to carry a message between battalions under heavy artillery fire. We're told that on his body was found a diary. On the flyleaf, under the heading My Pledge, he had written these words: America must win this war. Therefore I will work, I will save, I will sacrifice, I will endure. I will fight cheerfully and do my utmost as if the issue of the whole struggle depended on me alone. We must realize that no arsenal or no weapon in the arsenals of the world is so formidable as the will and moral courage of free men and women. It is a weapon our adversaries in today's world do not have. It is a weapon that we as Americans do have. Let that be understood by those who practice terrorism and prey upon their neighbors. As for the enemies of freedom, those who are potential adversaries, they will be reminded that peace is the highest aspiration of the American people. We will negotiate for it, sacrifice for it. We will not surrender for it now or ever. We are Americans.
Now, I admit I've never been much of a Ronald Reagan fan up until now, until the president, because he helped me understand what the man stood for. And I admire him more than I used to. And despise people like Clinton, who I used to look up to, because I didn't know, I didn't learn until now. We all must try to educate people who don't understand. It is more important today than ever. Right now we have Democratic governors trying to steal an election. They've literally thrown away, opened, and dumped ballots mailed for our president. That is not a free election. That is a rigged election. Because Biden is not going to win, and they know it. The man can barely get out a sentence. So find it in your hearts to help each other. Help somebody in need. Be kind to one another. Be there for somebody who needs you. Because that is the American way. Our democracy is on the teetering top. We could either prosper with the president or plummet with the Democrats. I am full confident that we will regain the House, keep the Senate, and re-elect Donald Trump. With everybody pulling together, do your part. Volunteer at a polling station. I've signed up for it. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I am here on the airwaves, reaching out. I am out there. I will volunteer for a candidate. In my state, John James. Please support this man. He is a very good man. He will do a wonderful job. Excuse me. We must make sure this is a fair election. Democrats are already trying to threaten and disrupt still some more this election. This is not acceptable. This is not our way. But in that note, God bless you. God bless the President of the United States. God bless the Vice President. God bless military and first responders and our police officers. Thank you very much for your service. And to the military, thank you for your service as well and sacrifice that you do every day. And to the men and women in the medical field, doctors and nurses, and to the Border Patrol and the Coast Guard. Most of all, thank you very much. I do appreciate you tuning in. I hope you will tune in Sunday at 10:30 for the regular show, Fighting for the Republic. My guest will be Becca. Hey, this is her third spot. And it should be a really good show. We're just going to roll with it. And that's the best kind to have. We'll figure out a topic. We'll just get with it. It'll be a lot of fun. So I hope you all will join me and my guest Sunday night, once again, at 10:30 Eastern Time. And I'm thinking about adding a day. I haven't really decided yet, but I'll work on that. And I will see you all very soon. God bless you. God bless the United States. And thank you very much for watching. And for, on the replay, please share and come on back. I'd really like to see you all again. Have a good night.
If I give you one message to hold in your hearts today, it's this. Treat the word impossible as nothing more than motivation. Relish the opportunity to be an outsider, because it's the outsiders who change the world and who make a real and lasting difference. The more that a broken system tells you that you're wrong, the more certain you should be that you must keep pushing ahead. You must keep pushing forward.